That's it. Well. Sorry, I forgot the fucking button for this. It's been a minute. Not just with streaming in general. It has been a minute with streaming in general, but it's been a minute since I've streamed on this channel. Definitely, for sure. Let me just. Oh, Ethan, could you type a message in chat? It's preventing me from doing such cool things. I'm just gonna make sure this is all right. Quite poetic, I think, that Adventure Time is in the very background here of this. Let me open the window. Which, by the way, if you can't already tell, is an explanation. Oops, sorry. An explanation of my newest video essay, Adventure Time and Coping with Loss, which took I mean, there's no other way to put it other than it took too long, you know. It wasn't even that it was the longest time I've taken for a tested myself. It's not even that it was the longest time I've taken to write and edit. Well, actually, no. Okay, here's the fun part. It was the longest I've taken to write a script and the shortest time I've taken to edit a video essay. Fun fact. So all of that editing prowess that you know might flaunt over in the video itself, which, by the way, I just realized I should put in the description of this. While I'm doing that, I'll keep talking. All of that you might flaunt over was all done in like a few days, maybe, you know. And the reason for that is what I'm going to get into now, because I think it's kind of an interesting story. You know, the paths life. Too focused on my live stream. The path life takes you down, and the twists and turns you must evade in order to do what you want to do. And those twists and turns I definitely had to evade for this, and most of the time I failed. But this began a long time ago, and I'm going to assume that there won't be a very many interactive people on the live aspect. But what I've done is done this on YouTube so that it can be eternally entrenched in the live stream archive. That way, if anybody, you know, if the small chance occurs that this video reaches leaps and bounds in success, you know, then under those circumstances I would want this video to be available somewhere. And Twitch is not a very good place for permanent archives, so I've decided to stream it here, and also because it's directly related to YouTube and this channel in particular, because I could have sat down and explained the story on Off the Latch, but why do that when I could have just awkwardly put myself in front of a camera and explain the whole thing live, which is what I'm doing now. So the actual video essay itself, for the live viewers and the VOD viewers, began, I want to say, around the time I was finishing growing up in Minecraft, which is a long time ago. About a week before its release is when I finished it, and about a week or two before that, I had come up with the idea to do something Adventure Time related. I didn't know what that was yet. I didn't know what direction I wanted to go in. I had a vague idea of something to do with Adventure Time's world building, actually, which is not at all what the video essay ended up being, as you could tell if you had seen it. But the idea was to, hold on, just go check something. Oh, I'm not in stream mode, that's why. The idea was to create a video essay surrounding a topic I enjoy, because I create the best stuff when I'm talking about the stuff I'm most passionate about. That's why growing up with Minecraft is so successful, and well, why all of my video essays are the most popular videos on my channel, and hopefully that theme will maintain itself with coping with loss. Right now, for nostalgia's sake, if I want to look back at where I'm at currently with the video at some point in the future, right now the video is sitting at 137 views, 10 comments and 23 likes, which is good. It's very good. For my channel, that is far above average, and I'm just happy it was able to be put out, because Adventure Time is a dick when it comes to, or the people that own it are dicks when it comes to even just putting background footage, not even playing like direct clips from the show, just the footage sitting in the background while you're talking is enough to have this blocked worldwide. I had to dispute the claim, wait 48 hours. Luckily, the 48 hours was the 48 hours before the trailer said the video was going to be released. But there's a possibility that at any moment they could just hit it with another claim. They released this one, kept the monetization one, and there's a possibility that at any time they could just claim it again and it would be down for 48 hours. They don't have any actual foundational argument, because fair use is definitely in play for this video, so they wouldn't be able to hold it up, which is why 48 hours would be the time it's down for. But it's still stupid that could ever happen. Imagine it's peaking in popularity and that happens. That would be a huge blow. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is where it started, before copyright became an issue, before I had finished the actual video itself. So I started with this idea of wanting to do an essay about world building. So an essay about how slowly Adventure Time encroaches this idea on your mind that this is this post-apocalyptic, quite horrifying, really, mutant world that our main characters are living in, which are who are right over there, fitting. And while it's an interesting concept and a very talented way of introducing a background, without even realizing it, you achieve this connotation. It's only directly mentioned when it comes to Marceline, who has lived from the end of our current civilization up until now. When she talks about that, that's the first time it's directly mentioned. But we already well know it by then, which is, I think, it's a tribute to how well they built their world up slowly over time, and while that is, that's a very interesting concept. The problem is just that that's it. You talk about it, and what else do you do? It's not lifting the essay to some great heights where it can be considered something I'm proud of. It's more just me talking about an idea that I think is really cool, which is now meant more for something like Off the Latch. I don't need to put a lot of effort into that. It's an idea that I had surrounding a show that I watch, and I could just throw that into an audio file and put some footage over it and call it an Off the Latch video, Off the Latch discussion, not really a topic for a video essay. So this is what I was talking to Harrison Consoli about, who is a very talented video essayist and a friend of mine, through video essays actually. And he suggested that is not a very good foundation for a video essay, because it doesn't have a lot of room to grow. It doesn't have a lot of directions to go in other than just itself. And so I thought, yeah, he's right, but I still want to do something surrounding Adventure Time, because I like this. flowing narrative I've created with the big video essays. Small video essays I like. Don't get me wrong, I like them. I think they're very good in their own respects, in their own genre of being very short concepts that I've thrown onto a page. But again, those videos could have very easily been, put into an off-the-latch type context and, call it a day. And so I was tired of making those. I wanted to make something big, something grandiose. And so I wanted to create this flowing narrative with the big three, as they are now. Where it started with homage to Hyper Light Drifter, which contains references to Minecraft, and then Growing Up with Minecraft came after that, which contained, well, it opens with the TV, in my childhood, in my fake childhood world, playing the Adventure Time episode that Coping with Loss starts on, actually. That video opens with, which, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that sort of flowing narrative that you can see. You can pick up these pieces of connection between each major video essay. So theoretically, you should be able to pick up possible, routes for me to take for my next video essay, because I already have that planned out. Haven't really. I think I've done about 8 pages of script. Most of that comes from an oral I did a while ago for English, which went really well, and I really liked it. So I thought I'd want to transform that into a video essay of some kind, and I thought of a bunch of ideas to add on top of that. But I'm not going to, announce anything just yet, because I don't want this to be another Adventure Time and Coping with Loss moment where I drag this shit out for like years. It's an idea I have. If it comes to fruition, fantastic. If it doesn't, I have not made any promises. So don't expect any trailers anytime soon. What you can expect is The Forest very soon. The finale of The Forest, which I will premiere, because I've decided to stop premiering finales on here, because it makes them feel more impactful. I was there for the premiered finale of The Forest, and or the premiered Best of StuartisUnoriginal 2021. Anyway, back to Adventure Time. So I wanted to have this connection, and in order to have that, I needed the video essay to be about Adventure Time, right? And if this idea wasn't working, I needed another one. And so I turned to... Yes, it does. And so I turned to... also, that wasn't even stream delay, by the way. That the time it took me to answer that. It's very weird how YouTube works, actually. The message came up in chat before it came up over here. Anyway, so I came up with a plan to talk about something, because, of course, Adventure Time I adore, and will always be something I love. But I needed to grip a solid idea in that show in order to... Mysterious ways. See, now that came up... Sorry about that. That came up over here, but not over... Okay, now it came up here before it came up in chat. YouTube's weird. Twitch is weird too. I don't know, the whole fucking streaming thing is weird. But, so I needed a solid idea to attach my video essay to. And so I started thinking about the themes in Adventure Time, because it is riddled with adult themes, and that's something I always thought was very made it very special, because as I was growing up with the show, the show was growing up with me. Finn was growing up with me, because they didn't get an adult actor to voice him as a kid. They let the kid grow up, which has literally never ever worked out for the worse for a show. I don't know why. I mean, unless they're planning to, run it for 20 seasons. I feel like if they want a full show that feels complete, they would allow their voice actors to grow just as much as their characters. But hey, what can you do? The Simpsons got to do what they need to. So I needed to grip onto something that I had a lot of connection with. And I had a lot of connection with this idea of... what was I saying? This idea of adult themes in this kid show. So I started thinking through them and trying to formulate something that connected a bridge across all of these ideas. So the idea that the show grew up with the audience, as did Finn, which didn't really become a crux for the video essay, but I did mention it in the first part. A huge part of the show is the concept of cycles. And that, though, cycles, that whole part, is very inspired by the video essay I recommended in the description of the of Coping with Loss, which refers to what's so great about that. A YouTube channel that I used to interact with a bit. She made a video on Adventure Time as well when it was ending, and I thought that video was amazing, and it brought out a lot of aspects that I hadn't really thought about when it came to cycles. And so I looked to make that the foundation for whatever it was I was going to talk about, because I knew whatever it was I was going to talk about this show was going to involve cycles, because everything in the show involves cycles. And so I started thinking through what I thought were the strongest points of the series. What I landed on was the classic dichotomy between Simon and Marceline, which everybody loves, everybody adores. And a lot of people think that Remember You is the episode where, I Remember You is the episode where Adventure Time really started to bloom into this incredible show about these very intricate characters. For me, it was a bit sooner than that, with the Holly Jolly Secrets episode. That shit was, that reveal of Ice King's, actual personality, I guess you could call it, or past personality. That was where it was at for me, for sure. But I understand why people would only catch on a bit later. Sorry, I just had singing. And when it gets to the episode I Remember You, it starts developing these characters a lot more, and it takes them back. Can you hear that? Oh, it's a song. And so I wanted to return to these fundamental characteristics of Adventure Time characters as an idea, rather than something like world building, which is a very interesting idea, but I don't know enough about that, to be super passionate about it. But I think everyone who writes video essays, to a greater or lesser degree, has some sort of passion for character, because those form a part of a lot of concepts in film and animation. And so I wanted to focus more on characters, and characters that I really liked. And I did obviously like the classic dichotomy between Marceline and Simon, and therefore the dichotomy between Ice King and Simon. But I loved Betty's character. I don't know why more people didn't. Maybe more people did. I don't really know the general consensus, but I adored Betty's character. I thought it was a perfect, maybe it was because she was introduced later in the series that people didn't have that, connotation with her like they did with Ice King and Marceline. But I really, really did like her character. And it's a pity that she didn't get, I guess, introduced earlier, because that way, there would be more people wanting to interact with the nostalgic aspect of Betty, but now, because she was introduced in late season 5. I say late season 5 as if that matters. Season 5 is like 58 episodes, but anyway, so it does matter. Okay. And so I landed on this idea of trying to involve Betty, Simon, Ice King, and Marceline all within the same video essay, because they were all directly related to each other. Luckily, they all also happen to be favorite characters of mine, especially Simon. I would say he's probably my favorite character in Adventure Time, or at least the Simon Ice King dichotomy. I don't think there was any episode in Adventure Time that I got as excited for as when Simon showed up. That motherfucker made some of these Adventure Time episodes. And so, of course, I will always have a lot of appreciation for that character. And I think the drive it kept Adventure Time going with is very evident in a lot of episodes. And so it came down to, how am I going to write this? And so I sat down and I structured out parts based on the idea that I come up with. And cycles came first because it was a fundamental that definitely did have a lot to do with Marceline's character, Simon Ice King character, and Betty's character, and all of those that they interacted with. So I focused on cycles, then I focused on Marceline and Simon's dichotomy because it came first, and then I focused on Betty and Simon's dichotomy because it came afterwards, and then finally I focused on Simon's dichotomy by the end, dichotomy with himself, with Ice King and Betty and Marceline by the end of the series, because that was sort of the culmination of Simon returning to being Simon, which I think had to be done. I think it would have been very unsatisfying if Ice King didn't return to Simon. But in the end, they were trying to characterize Ice King, which I thought was really interesting when I was rewatching the show. And I was like, they're making this guy say that he's worthy of respect and, like, you know, is separate from the Simon individual. So if they're going to characterize him this much and make him this likable of a character, what's going to happen when they need to, you know, make Simon a character again? You know, they're going to kill off, essentially, Ice King by suppressing him, or not suppressing him, releasing him from Simon by making Simon have no association to the crown, which is a decision they made, and a decision eventually they had to make by the end of Adventure Time, but still one that I thought was important to talk about. So once I had outlined all these ideas and, you know, come up with a sort of general introduction and conclusion, then came the fun part of, you know, writing out a fully-fledged video essay, which is not as easy as it sounds for me anyway, because I don't know. I have little stamina for stuff that involves a lot of mental effort, and writing video essays for me does, even if they're not that amazingly structured. I've seen a lot of video essays that I think are a lot more concise and get what they need to say across better, or are more in depth and notice things that I just would never pick up on. I'm sure if, you know, Harrison Consoli wanted to make the same video essay about the same thing and had loved the show as much as I did, he would have found a much more allegorical, like, beautiful way to tell the story I tried to tell. But nonetheless, I'm still very proud of the culmination of all of this. But the reason it took so long is because whenever I would get, you know, into a mode of writing and, like, inch myself towards finishing it, fucking school got in the way. High school, which, you know, now that I'm done with high school, sounds a bit stupid to me, because, you know, such a blip on my radar now in my past, whereas this is actually quite a big thing, big creative effort. And it's a bit depressing that got in the way for so long, but it did. So first it was this trying to, you know, come up with an idea for the show and for a video essay, and once I had that, it was trying to find time to write this script. And once I'd, you know, gotten to a point where I felt comfortable I could finish it off relatively soon, I tried to go on a writer's break, but the writer's break ended up being a social break and a school break, because I got into a, you know, intense relationship, and my final year of high school started, and things just, you know, fell into place so that I couldn't work on Twitch or YouTube or do any of that stuff. So I'm very glad I took that break, that writer's break, but it was not a writer's break at all. I think I might have done one sentence of writing in that writer's break. It was definitely a needed break, but writer's break, I don't know about that. But nonetheless, I took it and I needed it. And when I came back, I tried to, you know, sort of return to the roots of my YouTube career. And as Matric got more and more intense, same with my social life. It just became less and less of an option to work on a creative project. But then I was plunged into probably the worst time of my life. And once I'd come out of that, I had so little shits to give for school and for social life that I just decided, fuck it, I want to focus on what I want to focus on. And so I sat down on my keyboard. I finished off that video essay in a day. So didn't need 3 months of a writer's break, but I finished off that video essay in a day, and I proceeded to record it verbally. I had to do 2 takes, one a few months later, but I proceeded to record it verbally a few weeks later, and I got the interview done. And I did all of this during my final exams. I didn't give a fuck anymore, because, you know, I'd seen what it looks like at the bottom of that pit, that mental pit, you know, and everything just seemed so much lighter on top. You know, school seemed to weigh so much heavier on me once I came out of that. And so I focused on trying to get this done by the end of the year, because that's what I promised in my writer's break video, and it's what I fucking intended to do. And so I sat down on my computer, and I finally pushed myself to finish writing the script. And then, came the final fuck up, you know, the final thing that kept me from releasing this. It was meant to be released on the 17th, but then I was meant to go overseas, where I could not edit anything whatsoever. And if I had done that, not only would I not be here right now, I would definitely have not had time to release that video essay. So I was kind of worried about that, but I accepted the fact that I probably wouldn't be able to finish that video essay. So then the new variant came in, and I couldn't fucking go anywhere. Which was kind of a blessing in disguise when it comes to this video essay, because I was like, cool, I have time to do that interview with Amber, which, if you've seen the video, you know what I'm talking about, and then I have time to edit and release it. And the reason I didn't interview at all, you know, because I could have just talked about the characters without relating them to real life. I feel like an interview humanizes the characters a lot more, especially Marceline, because dementia is quite a specific case, whereas death is something a lot more broad and understandable. So I think the third part, you know, can be taken by most people without a need to humanize the situation. But I think Amber did a great job of humanizing Marceline and her experience with Simon as someone's experience, as correlating that experience with dementia. And the reason for that is because she's comfortable, you know, in front of a camera, because she does acting. Not that any of that was acting, but she does acting, so she's comfortable in those sort of situations. And so I thought it was a perfect opportunity to try something new, which essentially is what it was, because I haven't done any in real life interviews or anything like that before. So it was a new path I was testing, and I think it worked out really well. And I think it did what it meant to do, which was humanize that character and that scenario. But the interview, oh god, got pushed back. This is when I was still planning to go overseas. And I was like, well, there's no hope now. I can't finish this interview I can't do this interview and then finish editing it in like a day. It's just not possible. Oh well. Bam, new variant came in, couldn't go overseas. And so I eventually got around to doing the interview. And the day, I promised myself the day I did that interview is the day I would schedule this video for a week and ahead. And by that I mean release the trailer, because the trailer is what I release when I'm planning on releasing the video essay in a week. Usually it's when I complete the video essay, I release the trailer, wait a week. But this time I was like, put myself under time constraints, get the shit done. And so that's exactly what I did. I eventually got around to filming that interview 3 days later than anticipated, and I had 7 days to edit and put it out by the time I released that trailer. And I did it in 5, believe it or not, because I just worked day and night thinking I wouldn't have, you know, I would be stressed for time, you know, at the end. And so I did it in even less time than I thought I would need. when it came to that 5th day, I put it up on YouTube, and it was like, bam, 10 bajillion copyright strikes, because initially I had a lot of cutscenes around the place to give it a bit more narrative flow, but eventually I had to get rid of those, because having direct clips from the show that were very long just wasn't going to work out. It just really wasn't going to work out from the start, so I knew I would have to get rid of those eventually, and get rid of them I did. And now the final product you see also got copyrighted just because the background footage existed. They can claim it based on visual claim, not only monetizing, taking all the money it would make. It wouldn't make any money because I'm not a partner, but demonetizing it. Not only that, but also blocking it worldwide, which is obviously not a valid claim because it's clearly under fair use. But I did have to dispute that, and I did have to wait 48 hours for the dispute to either be rejected or for it to expire, and my video would be unblocked and released. And that 48 hours passed, and just after the 48 hours, they also rejected the dispute. Accepted the dispute and let it be unblocked, but they rejected the monetization dispute, even though it was pretty much the exact same thing, just background footage, which means I know exactly what they were doing. They were like, fine, we'll let you have it, but we'll take any money it makes if it does, even if you're not a partner. So whatever, let them keep their stupid money. I get to put out a product I've wanted to put out for a very long time, which I think I've expressed now through this VOD. So at present day, just in the nick of time, on the 20th of December 2021, I released it. And it has been almost 2 years probably in the making, in the back of my head, the idea to do an Adventure Time video essay. And I'm very, very, very happy that it's finally out. And the next thing I'll move on to, hopefully, won't take as long, but no promises this time. My God. Anyway, that's it for this VOD, actually. I've told the story I need to tell. And if you view this in the future, as a watcher of that video essay, to hear the story behind it, thank you for watching through this, and I hope you enjoyed it, because it's good to finally give out an explanation on the YouTube channel of why it took so fucking long to put that video essay out. But I hope you enjoy it. It's about, if you don't know, it's about this show, and it's in the description, and it's the most effort I've put into a video essay ever. So go watch it if you haven't already. But that is it from me. Did this in a lot less time than I thought I would, so maybe I'll hop over on Twitch and do some gaming there, but I can't promise anything. For now, I'm just going to take a little break. So have a good evening, everyone, or whatever time it is for you at the time you're watching this. And thank you for watching. I'll catch you probably in a while. This is a YouTube stream after all. But hopefully sooner rather than later. Adios.